Hello and welcome to the latest installment in What's on My Arty Bookshelf. Each week this year, more or less, I'll be creating an art journal page that's inspired by one or more of the books that I have on my Arty bookshelf. And before I tell you about what I did this week, I just want to introduce you to what I'm wearing. I call this piece Cherry Picking in Antigua. It's made almost entirely from a bag of scraps that I brought back with me from a trip to Guatemala, and it's kind of like a very personal souvenir, and it's entirely sewn by hand. So I spent a lot of time working on this and thinking about my trip. And this week I've been having a lot of fun looking back at old trip photographs for this video here, and you'll see why in a few minutes. But first, let me tell you about the books that inspired me this week. I wanted a short, quick project this week, and I thought I would be a bit clever and pick something that did double duty. I have a workshop on making folded books coming up in a few weeks, and I thought I would make a sample. I had already pulled out this first book, Make a Zine. What's a zine, you're wondering? The word zine is short for magazine, small magazine. So it's basically a self-published booklet that's photocopied and distributed, typically without a publisher. They exist outside of the mainstream. I ended up pairing it with this book called Exploration that I actually found on my daughter's bookshelf. And it turns out that it's a really sweet little book with ideas about travel journaling, and a lot of the ideas that it suggests are things that I actually do when I travel. So I paired these two books together to come up with my own zine, and I thought, oh, no problem, I can do this. I'll whip this off really quickly. And here's another booklet that I made off a series of zines that a group of friends of mine and I made this back in 2020 about our thoughts about the way the world was that year. And you can see that there are very many different styles and different types of booklets, and they're all made by folding down a single sheet of paper. And I'll show you in a few minutes how to make a book like this that you can then photocopy and distribute to whoever you want. And this one here is my little mini zine, which I titled Important Things. In 2020, things like cardboard boxes, toilet paper, alcohol, both kinds, and all those Zoom meetings that we attended, and of course masks and knitting socks that I took up. And here's another one of the booklets made by one of our group members that hasn't quite been bound into my book yet. And here is how you make a little booklet like that. You start with a sheet of paper, and you could start with a sheet of paper any size. It's typical to start with a photocopiable size of paper, so letter size, and A4 sheet of paper. You fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again, and then you open it up. There are different ways to do this part, but opening it up and folding the two edges to meet at that center line. To create a sheet of paper with 8 sections in it. Now you can fold it the other way around if you want long skinny pages, but it's quite typical to fold it in this orientation. So you end up with eight sections there. And the next step is to cut along that fold line from the middle fold there, the folded edge, towards the first fold that you come to. So you don't cut from the open edge, you cut from the folded edge. And then you'll open it up and you'll have a piece of paper that has a cut line in the middle of it. You can reshape that piece of paper so you've got that diamond shape in the middle and push it together, and there you go, you have a book. Now resist the attempt to trim any of the edges. This is just the way the book is, and if you start trimming things you might find that your book doesn't hold together. This is the way it's supposed to be. And you can fold it in different ways to determine where the front cover is. Now this is going to be the master that you then photocopy to make your zines. This one is not yet a zine, it's just a folded book. And you can see that I've got a lot of content here. So what advice did I come up with on how to travel well? First of all, be curious. You never know what might happen. You might find yourself kissing a shark at the Dubai fish market, or perhaps doing battle with a skeleton somewhere in rural England. Next advice, sit for a bit. You might be befriended by a small feline creature who coordinates with your outfit. Someone might teach you how to spin cotton in Guatemala. Who knows? And the next one, travel first class or travel third class. Good advice. But I would also add, always use the first class toilets, like this velvet line throne in Henry VIII's dressing room. My next bit of advice, bring a snake? No, no, I don't know what I was thinking there. Well, maybe I do. Bring a snack. Because again, you never know when you might need to have one. Who knows what might be on the menu? Tasty insects, raw alpaca meat, humans, perhaps baked into a pie. It's not all bad news. You might find these condiments in these little paint tubes or happy mushrooms. And maybe you don't even need to travel. I received this receipt at home. And then listen up and make notes. It's something that I've been doing for years when I sketch, especially when I'm on trips. I have average children and all my friends have extraordinary grandchildren. I can't compete, perhaps because I'm the wrong mother. Overheard in two completely different places. And then there's this gem. It's not about the finished socks. So in conclusion, thank you, arigato, danka, merci, sheshe, gracias, quitos, or however you say it. And here's the finished scene. And I will spare you the footage of me creating the 5 previous versions that I cut these statements from. And then on the back, my very last page, where will I go? Come on, let's get on with it. Next. Where do you think I'm going to go next? I don't know, but I'm sure it'll be somewhere interesting. Anyway, thanks again for watching. It's great to see you here, and I hope you're enjoying my videos. See you soon.